The Drug Connection and its Gurus. Among the many key events, too many to be included here, in turning our youth to drugs and the East, which opened the door to yoga, was the publication in 1954 of Aldous Huxley's book, The Doors of Perception. In 1953, Huxley had been given a large supply of mescaline for his personal use by Dr. Humphrey Osmond, his private physician. What he experienced in the altered states of consciousness under that drug convinced him of its value as a psychological tool. The Doors of Perception became the first manifesto of the psychedelic drug cult. Its claim that hallucinogenic drugs expand consciousness was ideally suited to the mindset of the hippies and justified the mind trips that they came to believe would accelerate their liberation from society. Huxley helped found the Esalen Institute in Big Sur, California, which became a mecca for New Agers of all stripes for experimentation in psychic powers and spirit communication. Hundreds of Americans came there to engage in weekends of tea groups, using biofeedback, role-playing, and so on to gain insights into themselves, others, and groups in order to change the standards, attitudes, and behavior of individuals, and training groups modeled on behavior group therapy to practice Zen, Hindu, and Buddhist transcendental meditation and out-of-body experiences through simulated and actual hallucinogenic drugs ingestion. Timothy Leary, Harvard psychology professor until he was dismissed in 1963, was privately purchasing large quantities of LSD from Sandoz Pharmaceutical for his own personal use and for distribution. He became the Pied Piper of the drug era, which paved the way for Eastern mysticism, including yoga, to invade the West. His admirers honored him as the Galileo of consciousness. A belligerent atheist, one of his sayings was, "Beware of monotheism." Leary opposed the family and moral absolutes, considered LSD and what it did to the nervous system to be a natural and essential part of the next stage in human evolution, and tried to establish psilocybin as treatment for reforming criminals. Leary's book, The Psychedelic Experience, based on the ancient Buddhist Tibetan Book of the Dead, which C.G. Jung regarded so highly that he carried a copy with him everywhere, became another Bible of the counterculture, and millions followed his advice. As one commentary on that book declares, quote, "More often than not, the dazzling and multicolored archetypes that sprang forth came in the exotic guise of the gods and demons of India and Tibet. Mystical experience and the spiritual quest became synonymous with drug-induced altered states of consciousness and the search for the ultimate high. The message of the day, tune in, turn on, drop out." Following a commonly held belief that many of Asia's revered scriptures could be utilized most effectively in the West by replacing their sacred images with Western ones, former Harvard psychology professors Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, also known as Ram Dass, enthusiasts of the new counterculture, took the Tibetan Book of the Dead and presented it as a guidebook for the LSD experience, end quote. Under the influence of psychedelic drugs, America's hippies followed Timothy Leary's advice to tune in, turn on, and drop out. In doing so, they experienced a non-physical dimension of existence that seemed to be at least as real as normal consciousness. Thus, multitudes of America's youth began in earnest the purposeful pursuit of, quote, altered states of consciousness, end quote, in the attempt to finally find themselves. Godlike powers were allegedly available within, awaiting discovery. These were the treasure of infinite potential promised by the Human Potential Movement, also known as the New Age movement. Many following this trail found that it eventually led them to yoga.